All right, here's the next assignment. Logarithms. Again, just copy these notes down in your notebooks. All right, here we go. Logarithms. This is worksheet 4. It's going to be the notes. Okay. Solve. You're going to be getting some answers here. You'll see a couple of easy ones, and again, make sure you look at the last, all the way through the last examples, because they are going to increase in rigor. Okay, number 1. All right, so now what you're going to see is, again, remember, we're working with logarithms. We got log base 5, and then you'll have one logarithm with an expression or something on one side, and then equal to, and now you're going to see it equal to another logarithm. And it should have the same base, and then it'll have another number or expression over here. Sometimes they'll use the parentheses, sometimes they won't. Okay? This is not like before when you had logarithm here and then a number here, and then you change it to exponential form. When you have a logarithm for this assignment, for this work, when you have a logarithm equal to a logarithm and they're exactly the same, what's going to happen here is, if you just think of things being equal, right? This equal sign, very important. If this log 5 and this log 5 are equivalent, then we can kind of just drop those. If those pieces are being equal, then we just set these. If this is equal and this is equal to this and that's equivalent, then it makes sense that these two parts that are here we can set to be equivalent. So pretty much you're just going to put what? 2x equals to 8. And then that's the part you have to solve. So you'll see that these logarithms will match, and once these are equal and they match, we can kind of just ignore them, right? We can ignore them, and then we put this part on this side equal to this part on this side. After this, you just solve this. That's easy to solve, right? Again, this one's an easy one, but the last ones are not. Solve, well, that's going to be 2x equals 8, divide by 2, x equals 4. And that's the answer. All right, that was an easy one. Number 2. Let's look at another one similar. They look intimidating, but they're easy. All right. Number 2. Log 3 of this expression equals to, again, log 3 of this other expression. Well, like I said, once this logarithm is equal to this logarithm, we can, all things being equal, because that's what the equal sign is. If this is equal to this, then we can set this part equal to this part. 6x plus 4, this expression equal to 2x minus 20. And then you just solve. So that'll be, how do you solve this? Well, 6x plus 4 equals 2x minus 20. We want to get the variables on one side and the numbers on the other side, so I'm going to move this 2x over here. I'm going to move this positive 2x over here. Positive 2x this way, the positive 4 this way, so this will be 6x, and that'll be what? Minus 2x, because I moved it from this side to this side, so it changes sign. Equals, and then you already have the negative 20 over here. But this positive 4, when it goes that way, well, it changes to negative 4, right? Okay, I shouldn't have to show you that. This is going to be 4x equals negative 24. You're going to get x equals negative 6. Okay, those two were the easy ones. The next two are not, so keep following along. All right, number 3. Now we're going to get to the algebra 2 type problems. Now that you know, once you see two logarithms equal to each other, okay, you just solve it. But now watch here how they're going to get complicated. Log 6 of x squared plus 7x equals obviously log 6 of, just 30. Oh, okay. Well, again, these logarithms are the same. If those are equal to each other, then we set these parts, right? Equal to themselves or equal to each other. X squared plus 7x equals, right, equals 30. Now, what's different? What's new? What makes this more complicated? When you have squared, right? When you have squared, that means that this is what? Quadratic. It's quadratic. It's the power of 2. And we've learned how to solve quadratic equations. Remember, we should get 2 answers. How do we solve a quadratic? Well, remember, we move everything to one side. We move everything to one side where the x squared is positive and make it equal to 0. So this is going to be x squared plus 7x, and then what? Minus 30. We move that 30 over there. Set it equal to 0, right? Because now that's how we learn to solve it. Right? We're solving it. And why do we want to move everything to one side like this? Well, because we learn how to solve this. We have to do what to this? Factor. Right? Always look for a GCF first or anything like that. But remember, we go back to factoring and then that factoring piece. How to factor this. So you need to go back to your notes on factoring. How to factor this. Remember, you look for the multiples of 30. What multiples of 30 can this factor out like this? Where this is x, right? X times x to give me x squared. What two numbers multiply to negative 30 and give me a positive 7? Well, that's going to be a 10 and a 3, right? A 10 and a 3. And one of them has to be positive and one of them has to be negative, right? Okay, so you need to review your notes on factoring. Go back and look at those. That's going to make this one the positive and this one the negative, right? And then how do you solve this and get the answers, right? Remember when we set it equal to 0? What did we learn to do? We set this one, x plus 10 equal to 0 and solve it. And then you do x minus 3 equal to 0 and solve it. So here the answer is x equals what? Negative 10, right? You move this to that side. And x equals what? Positive 3. All right, so make sure you go back and check that these work. Right, let's see, if x equals 3, right, because one of these might not work. You might do your assignment and you might get these 2 answers, but the key only shows one of these 2 answers is because you have to actually check. If I put the value of 3 here, that'll be 3 squared, which is 9, plus 7 times 3, that's 21. 9 plus 21, yes, I get log 630 equal log 630. If I put negative 10 now, and I check this one, I know this one works, this one checked. If I put negative 10 here, that'll be negative 10 squared, that's positive 100. And then 7 times negative 10, that's 100. Right, I'm doing negative 10 squared plus 7 times negative 10. That's going to be 100. Take away 70, that gives me 30. See? It's equal, it's good. These both answers are valid. So we keep them. Okay, last one, number 4. Another one very similar to this. Log 3 of 5a plus 16 is equal to log 3 of a squared minus 8. And again, you got these two logarithms equal to each other. We can drop that. We're just going to put what? 5a plus 16 equal to the a squared minus 8. Right? Again, we have what? A quadratic again. See, it's squared. Do I want to move everything to this side? No. Not in this case, right? We want to move the variables and everything to the side where the a squared is positive. So in this case, I want to keep this here. If I move this over here, it'll be negative. No, the a squared has to be positive. That means I got to move these over there. 0 is equal to a squared minus 8. And this 5a, when it goes that way, it's going to be minus 5a. And when this positive 16 goes that way, it's going to be negative 16, right? So what's it's going to be? These are numbers that all add together. So you're going to be left with 0, right? We've got to write this in the correct descending order. A squared, then the minus 5a, then the negative 8, and the negative 16 is negative 24. All right, factoring this, right? Got to factor this now. And the ones you'll have here will factor out nicely. I know this is going to be a and a. What numbers can multiply to 24 and subtract to a 5? Well, again, if you need to go review factoring, you better go back and look at your notes on factoring. Right? You make a list of all the factors of 24. The two factors that multiply to 24 and can give you 5 are negative 8 and positive 3. Multiply these two, it gives you this. Add these two, it gives you the negative 5a. All right, and then from here we're going to get our two answers. This one's going to be a minus 8 equals 0. This is going to be a plus 3 equals 0. Some of you have a shortcut and you know how to do that. Great. But show your work. Here we go. So you got a equals positive 8 now, and a equals negative 3. All right. All right, there you go. Good luck with this assignment. Test coming up.